Hi, and welcome to Stimming in Stilettos with Dr. Tasha. And of course, as usual, bringing you another great guest. And today is no different. So, um, I love what I do and I love who I do it for. And today, another great guest. They find me, which is lovely. I remember back in the day when I was on LinkedIn and I was on Instagram, and I was like, listen, you guys need to be a guest on my show. These days, they find me. I still have to ask people to be a guest on my show, but these days, people find me and they're like, yes, yes, please be. I would like to be a guest on your show. Um, and today we have another great guest. So, Zena,
Hello, world. Hello,
hi.
Dr. Tasha.
Um, I'm really happy that to meet you. I'm really happy that you agreed to be a guest on the show. Um, I'm always so amazed when I'm still amazed after 11 years of doing this that people agree to be a guest on my show. I'm still amazed. I'm still like, oh my gosh, I got a guest. And I think that's just the beauty of it all. But I'm really happy that you agreed to be a guest on the show. So happy that you were here.
Well, I want to say this. What made you stand out to me? Because a lot of people ask me to do podcasts, and I rarely ever just volunteer myself. But when I saw that you had this whole stiletto themed podcast for STEM, I said, let me show up because I'm hashtag architect bay. So of course I need to show up, and I want to say this in these male dominated industries, oftentimes you don't see women flaunting their beauty and what they have. And we need to see more of it. I'm all about liberated, intelligent women. We hear beauty and brains thrown all over the place, but there's a whole different level of brains when it comes to STEM, and I feel like it's just such an abused, type of concept. I'm like, you don't have a clue what we do in one day. So, the way that we can really make the world go around and at the same time really celebrate our beauty, our feminine power, and be sirens. I absolutely love what you are doing and the space that you've created. So I wanted to be a part. Definitely.
Listen, you know what
Mhm.
I was thinking about doing as you were talking? You know how the housewives have like they have the peaches if they're in Atlanta and Beverly Hills. What do they have? Like the diamonds or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Or whatever it is, or or
Mhm.
they have the whatever that is they have. I wonder
Mhm.
if we could do it like in STEM, like well, mine is stemming and stilettos. If all of us could have like our like a golden shoe, and like for architects or like for doctors or for like because I'm a mechanical engineer, right?
Mhm.
And so I feel like we should all like glam ourselves up and do something similar. I know like
Definitely.
a couple of years ago, it was like she's in STEM and they had something like that movement.
I remember I reached out to this photographer. I don't know if you guys have heard of 2020 photography. He's like a big time photographer. And I wanted to do all of the bays, the professional bays. I wanted to do the doctor bay, the engineer bay, and stuff like that. And I don't know why we never got around to doing it. But like I said, the world needs to see it because oftentimes when you get caught up in the whole brainiac type of situation, it's like you have to choose. You have to be you can't be eye candy. You have to be soul food. No, girl, you can be
Yeah,
the macaroni with the cheese. You can be soul food. You can be the sweet potato
right.
souffle. Like you don't have to choose, but you can be fine
You
and
don't
smart.
have to choose. You can be pretty and smart. You can, it's like
Mhm.
there's not an either or, it's a both and. It's
Yep.
like what is this thing where you have to be nerdy and ugly? What is
Because
that?
if,
Like
if
what
you're really smart, they think that you have like bird brains or you're an airhead, but it's just like, honey, step into the new millennium. I'm sorry that happened to you or whatever, but yeah, we take good care of ourselves and we go to famous universities and
Right. We eat well. We look the way we look. We care about ourselves. We really want to like I can wear my heels
Mhm.
and get an A too. It's like what is that about?
Yeah,
It's
so I love to
crazy.
see it. When I saw that, I was like, we need more of it because I feel like if there are more women in the workplace expressing themselves, there'll be less jealousy, less microaggressions. You know how the older women sometimes are kind of cruel to the younger women when they come into the
Yeah.
firms and offices. I think that would decrease if we just normalize women loving themselves at work. So I'm
Yeah.
just so happy you created this space.
Oh, thank you so much. It just it's about who I am as a person, and it's so funny because it's like when people hear the names, everybody's like, "Ooh, I really love that," because it speaks to who I am, and I'm like, "Honey, I love a good stiletto."
Yeah,
And I'm
definitely.
a mechanical engineer. It's just sort of like I used to be able to, like, when I would go into work and I would have on my skirt and my stilettos and they'd be like, "Oh, we need you to go, we need you to go into the field." And I'm like, "Yes," and I got my hard hat
Yep.
and my steel toe boots in the car.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, like I could braid up my hair and
Yep.
so hey, it's nothing but a thing to me.
I love
Like,
it. I love it. And look at you over in the MEP side. A little bit about me. I own an architectural firm.
let's
So
do it.
what I normally do is like what's behind me. This is a sexy liberated nightclub. I normally do the master planning and the conceptual design. And then my staff handles the construction documents. And construction documents are just plans for anybody that's wanting. It's like that big rolled up thing
Yep.
of paper with all those. It used to be blueprints back in the day, but the architectural firm is kind of like responsible for all the sheets, and within those sheets, you have your mechanical sheets, which Dr. Tasha, would do. You
Yep.
have your electrical sheets. You
Yep.
have your plumbing engineering sheets. You have your interior design sheets, and so forth. And we combine all the drawings to make sure that the building will actually work. And that's basically what I do for a living. I go into a space, or sometimes there isn't a space. I'll go look at some land and dream up what could happen here. So sometimes we work as a developer as well. And then we team up with a powerful team of people and think of it as like an orchestra.
Yeah.
You have the violins, the cellos, you may have the woodwinds and all those people, and there's one person in the front going like this. Well, that's me. So
Wow.
I come up with the whole vision, and there's a team of people depending on me to guide them to bring that vision to life. And then in the end, there's an actual building that's built by the construction workers.
I love that picture that you paint of what you actually do. I don't think I've heard anyone actually put it together like that. Okay, so take me back. So what is your STEM story? Like, how did that actually happen? Like, how did you get there?
Well, I tell people my story all the time, and I'm never going to get tired of telling it because I want children who were in my shoes to feel loved and seen and not alone. My father was in prison when I was born. So my dad, while he was in prison, he knew that he wanted his daughter to design buildings. And when I I remember him when I was about 3. That's the earliest I can remember. I'm not sure when he was released, but he started moving fast. I remember him having me draw 2-point perspectives, 1-point perspectives, art contests. Like my dad was on it. He signed me up for everything. And I stuck to the plan all the way through like high school. I was doing Skills USA, but at the time it was called VICA.
Yeah.
Um, I was an officer in FBLA. I was winning all the drafting competitions. I did governor's honors program. That's something that they have in Georgia. I went to nationals. I was so serious about architecture. And then I attended Tuskegee on an academic scholarship. Is partial, by the way. It's very rare does someone attend a private university on a full academic scholarship. That's typically athletes. So mine was partial, and I majored in architecture, and I just went from there.
Wow, that is amazing. So I think you're I can't remember the last time that there's only one, maybe two other people that I know of, that I personally know of, that is an African American architect. Like, I feel like I am in rare space. Totally, truly honored to sit and get to talk to you. Like, no, seriously.
It's just a weird field that's just not meant for everyday people. It's an elitist field. It's for nepotism white boys.
Yeah.
And in terms of like architects, less than 1%. That's not even 1%, less than 1% are Black women. So it's like, I don't know when you remember when you were a kid going outside looking for a four-leaf clover. Like, um, it's hard to find. What was it?
No,
Was
I
it the
mean,
three-leaf
honestly,
clover
the
or the
only
four-leaf clover? You can find
you're
them. Yeah.
literally you are. I think the only other person that I know is a Black man. You are probably the only other. You're the only other Black person that I know, and you're the only Black woman that I know that is an
But
architect.
it's all good though, because I just released a coloring book right here. I have the author's copy. Oh, you can't really see it. Hopefully you're, oh, there we go,
I
there we
see
go,
it.
there we go.
Oh,
So there's this organization called the American Institute of Architects. And they just had their 100th president this year. And for the first time in history, it is a Black female. And she and I worked together on making this coloring book. Her name is Kimberly Dowdell. She wrote the foreword, and the first page is a passport for you to go all around the world. And her inauguration was in Washington, D.C. When I tell you I showed up, I don't know if y'all remember when Barack Obama was becoming president and Denzel Washington showed up like 2 hours early and he was sitting on the front row in the freezing cold. Well, that's how I was for Kim. Honey, I was there. I was like, I don't know who else Black is coming, but she gonna see me and she gonna be able to look out there. But of course, she had a full house. I mean, it was so many people proud of Kim.
yeah.
So just one time for Kim for making history and becoming the first Black woman president of the American
Oh my
Institute of
God.
Architects. And when I asked her to write the foreword to the coloring book, I was so shocked when she was like, of course. And the way that she wrote it just so beautifully, so that it's a passport, so that the kids can fill out the passport. And as they flip through the pages, they're Acropolis, Burj Khalifa,
Uh-huh.
Coliseum, Disney World, Eiffel Tower. It's
Oh,
so cute. So yeah, we're just getting that representation out there, because what you see, you can be. So we're talking to the kids, y'all. Just like my dad was in prison thinking of this amazing career for me, So I talk to the elites all the time. I'm like, if my dad could prepare me, what are you doing? How are you going out showing these kids their opportunities? And for Christmas, the book signing was at the Atlanta airport, the world's busiest airport.
yeah.
I don't know if people know, but that airport is Black run.
Yes,
And
it
so
is.
I was there with 200 kids, 50 teachers. We had something called Frosty's Fest, and they all got coloring books. We fed them. Santa Claus came, a Black Santa. The Grinch came, so we wanted these kids to meet me. They met pilots, they met other engineers, and, we're getting them young so that we don't have these conversations in a year 2026 that it's not Black people or Black women in this industry. That needs to stop, So we're getting a hold of the kids, and we're not code switching. When I talk to anyone or a child, I talk the same way. I'm not going to change who I am, because I don't want those kids to think that they have to change who they are to fit in a white dominated field,
And they
because
shouldn't. They
you
shouldn't
don't
have
have
to.
to. A lot of the standards that Black people are taught in work environments are just fictitious anyway. There's really no such thing as professionalism, because when you meet the company CEOs of these Fortune 1000 companies, they're cussing, they're wearing flip-flops and khaki shorts.
Correct. They're regular old folks.
They're regular old folks, but they're playing with you as a Black person, making you think that you have to speak this way, walk this way, act this way. And it's just a game to keep
Mhm.
you out of there or to make you submit to them. So we have to stop this crap of code switching and, acting different in front of children. Let the kids know you can be Dr. Tasha. You can be Xena
Or
Stryker and
not.
get to that
All right.
money.
Or because you can be yourself and it be exactly okay.
Yeah.
Code switching is a thing. It's still a thing in some places, right?
It's a thing
I
in a
mean,
lot of places. And
it
when I see it, I just know not to trust that person.
exactly right.
Like,
And it's like because it's so dang tiring. And it's like, oh my God, I'm exhausted already.
yeah, it's
Like I'm
spiritually exhausting.
I'm
Yeah.
exhausted already. It's like I'm already an introvert. Like I'm a natural introvert. It's like, Lord Jesus, if I gotta go and code switch someplace, what are we even doing? Like,
I just can't show up.
I mean, it's like I'm tired going in here. Like, what? Nope, nope, and nope.
But
I
that's
can't.
the thing, you know, when it comes to Black women in these male dominated industries, they want us to wear so many hats. They want us to come in and be this super mega star in the position that we're hired for, meaning the person sitting next to us in the cubicles, they don't have to know what we know, but we have to know 3 times what they know. And then they want us to do clerical work, and then they want us to help out with diversity projects. Then they want us to take pictures for photo ops. Then they want us to
Right,
cut the
right.
cornbread, trim the hedges, all this other stuff that we're not getting paid for. So yeah, being a Black woman showing up in these spaces is already exhausting, especially if you're not performing. And when I say performing, just smiling or something, because they want you to they just have something in their head about what a Black woman should do in these spaces. And if you're not doing it, they feel like you're being defiant in some type of way. So,
Right. And they want to call you out about who your personhood is, right?
like,
They want you to be performative.
yeah.
Yeah. And then if you don't show up like they think you should, they want to call you out about it. And it's
Well,
like,
they're not going to immediately call you out. What they're going to do is they're going to find some compliant minority to come and check you.
yeah, that
So
yes. Oh,
that
yes.
it may be a Black man that's playing the game. They'll send him,
Mhm.
or they'll send somebody that has a dark colored skin over to come. Are you okay? You know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's true. And it's like, listen, you don't get to tell me how I need to act in this. I can be sad. I can, I don't have to be who it is you want me to be in this.
Exactly.
In,
That's not in my job description because I just pulled it and looked back at it, and it
right.
doesn't include any of that. So can you? All I think about sometimes is that episode of Fresh Prince when Ashley was like, um, mind your business. That's all. Just mind your business.
I love that episode so much.
Because that's what it feels like when I'm in those spaces. Like mind your business. That's all. Just mind your business because they
I
want to know
mean,
who you're
get
dating, what you're doing
get
to spend
away
time
from
with.
me, sir. Like, okay, yeah, mind your business. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a little taste of that just a little while ago when I was in a space where they were wanting me to perform. And it's like it was one of those, hey, are you okay? Are you, can it was like one of those, I need you to take 2 steps back. Just
Yeah.
two steps back, please.
And I'm just so happy that we're at a point where we're having, now there are a lot of crazy podcasts where it's just a bunch of people with microphones talking about, who eat first, the man, the kids, the cat, the dog, or whatever. I know those podcasts are out there and they're just a waste of space. But these types of conversations, I'm happy that they're being had because oftentimes interns and young women that want to enter STEM, they don't know who to turn to. Because if they want to ask these transparent questions, oftentimes, again, that person in the office that may be a person of color may not be a team player, and they may go back and spill the beans that this intern had this situation or had to ask this question. So I'm happy that people are able to turn to podcasts such as yours to hear from African American women and realize that you're number one, you're not alone. Two, you're not crazy. And three, there is a way around the situation. You don't have to play the game.
See now, and that is very key that they know that. Like, first off, they have to know that it is a game, right? That there is a game being played. That's number one. Okay. Two, that they don't have to play it. Like that they have choices. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I think for a long time, they didn't know it was a game. Two, they didn't know that they had a choice whether they had to play
Mhm.
it. They felt like if I'm here, I gotta roll with this thing, right?
Mhm.
I gotta do what they say I gotta do.
Mhm.
And I don't know how to navigate this. Because I know when I got in, I didn't know I didn't know, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta do this thing, right? and I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I'm in here trying to figure it out. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to people who look like me. I'm not knowing they're playing a game too. I,
That's the part.
you know, I'm like getting advice from them, and I'm like, am I the crazy
There is a show on Hulu, and dang, what is the name of that show? Oh, The Other Black Girl. Have you heard of
one? Oh, girl,
it?
girl, we
Mhm.
could do a whole nother show on this.
Any young women watching this podcast, please watch The Other Black Girl on Hulu. I understand that it is, it's kind of a spoof, but if you read in between the lines, you will understand what we're talking about. Oftentimes, that one Black woman at that company that's over DEI, don't trust that sister.
I mean, listen, it's like sometimes it's like you go into HR, like HR ain't HR.
Never trust HR.
I mean,
That's the
what?
ops.
Man,
To
this,
protect the company. So whatever you say to them, again, when you know that it's a game, you know that everything you're reporting to them, they're going to report back to the company and the company's lawyers, because you are a walking liability, meaning you got them, you got dirt on them,
correct.
So they're going to play along, act like they're fixing the issue, but what they're going to do eventually is sabotage you, make you so miserable that you quit.
That's
If it
right.
ever gets to that point, don't quit. You let them fire you. You know why? Because you get a severance check. You have to. In the state of Georgia, you got to get it the same day, actually. And there's nothing wrong with getting fired. Don't let any old person that was a custodian for 40 years, make you think you're so wrong with getting fired. When you're young, you need the job hop, baby. So you get that severance money, you get that unemployment. If you're super young, haven't been there long, bust open that retirement pension, and then also go and file your EEOC. Okay. Um, Also make sure you write a review like on Google or Glassdoor, because a lot of these companies will eventually pay you to take it down. So
Mm,
if you quit on your own, you don't get any of that. You don't get any of that. So let them fire you, and all that money saved up, you take about a 2-week vacation, to clear your mind, and then it gives you a buffer with money and time to start looking for your next job. So yeah, don't ever trust HR. Whatever you're saying to them, you follow it up with something I call the 3Ds. It was what was discussed, what was decided, and what is there to do. You always send that in the email and blind CC your personal email. That way you have documentation of what happened. You
documentation
know.
is key. Documentation is absolutely key. And I learned this. Well, I had to learn this the hard way, right? Because I was again, I was a naive young girl thinking HR was my friend. HR is not your friend. HR is there to protect the company and not you.
Mhm.
So just beware.
And pimp slip up. I tell people all the time, pimp slip up. Like there's always this person, because there's this sense of envy that comes with us with these powerful professional degrees. You got that big shot degree and you didn't know. Anybody on our level know that we're learning. We're probably first generation. I just told you my
Right.
dad was in prison. So I can't have these types of conversations with my biological family. They're too jealous.
Right.
So, yeah, pimp slip up. Yeah, okay, you got into it with HR things and go. So what? You talk to
Right.
another educated woman and they'll tell you a story like this one mentor I have right now. Whoo, I love her. I love her. She was just telling me yesterday about some crap that happened at UCLA back like 30 years ago, when they wrote on her desk, N-word, go home, like stuff like that. So those stories are what I need to hear to
Right.
know that I'm not tripping and that I'm on the right track.
Right.
So don't ever feel ashamed of what other ignorant people have done to you and how you didn't know how to navigate that machine, because these huge companies that have these $1 million lawyers up against you, of course you're not going to win your first battle. It's
Right.
impossible.
But see, that's exactly why I do the podcast, is so that people can tell their stories, get it out there into the world so people can learn from us. Because like,
Mhm.
listen, if I knew what I knew then, or didn't know then, like, man, listen, learn from me, learn from all of the
Listen,
mistakes
I'm
that
getting the bumps and bruises and I'm passing notes to your sister.
please
Like,
take this story. Somebody listen to this story. Don't do what I did. Learn
mhm,
this lesson from me.
yep.
Take this lesson and be like, oh, okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Take
That's
this.
how that's what real sisterhood is. I see a lot of organizations and sadly there's a lot of narcissistic behavior, it's a lot
Yeah,
of social hierarchy, very catty old women. And I'm just like, real sisterhood should be what we're doing today.
exactly.
And it really should be for the advancement of our people. And I wish we had more of that because these organizations, if they really got down to the bottom line and discuss equity, inclusion, and how to put more money in our pocket, they would really change history for the African American race. And a lot of these organizations, they talk about it, but they're not walking the talk.
Oof. I wish we had a collection plate because we would pass it right on that one.
But be
We,
careful when you're paying dues to a lot of these bougie, Black organizations because they're not really benefiting you one bit.
no, they
Not
just
one
taking
bit.
your money.
It's taking your money and it's just social status. And a lot of them don't even have what they claim to have.
You're right. You're right. And then when you ask for it, you'd be like, I thought we said we had where's the networking? What I thought we said we were doing. It's coming, it's coming. It don't
And they'll say you're breaking protocol for asking a question.
I,
I had to get up out of them bougie Black women organizations. I'm serious. I say y'all can kiss it. I'm gone. This Beverly Hillbilly gone. Yeah,
I mean, but you know what? You ain't lying. You are not lying.
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, and you ain't lying. You ain't
yeah. So I mean, we just have to do what we can to be more vocal. And when it comes to visibility. We need to be out front a lot more
lying.
because, again, there are certain people that are always selected to represent African American women in these fields. And the same way I raised my hand and volunteered to come on your podcast, you don't be afraid to just volunteer, and speak up.
And that's
Um,
the other thing is that we have to be more vocal and more visible. We're responsible for telling our own stories. And I mean, we have to tell our own stories.
yep.
Um,
I think
because,
who was that poet? She said that if you don't tell your own stories, they will abuse you and say you liked it.
oh God, oh, you're so right. Oh God, who said that? Oh, and I just heard it again recently.
Nora Zill Hurton, what is her name?
Yes, I think that's it. That's it. Oh gosh, and it's so true. It's just we
I said it wrong. Is Zora Neale
have,
Hurston? Yeah, she said if you don't tell your story, they're gonna tell it their way about your abuse, and they'll say that you liked it.
yeah. And that's just so true. It's just
Mhm.
it's the same thing that Trump's trying to do with January 6th. He's trying to rewrite history and talking about like they just walked that it in. They were tourists.
They better leave my girl Fonnie alone because that's my
Uh,
girl.
say
That's
that,
my
say
girl.
that.
I got a back like
We,
chiropract.
okay, listen, we can't even really talk about that, but at the same time, it's just sort of like what is it that
And there's another DA up in Boston, I'm not Boston, Baltimore, Maryland. Um, she went to Tuskegee as well. She was the one who put the officers in jail for Freddie Gray. Uh,
oh
right now they're coming after her. All these years later, something about it didn't I read the story. I don't know, but they're really coming after her trying to punish her in a criminal way. And I'm just like, again, when you're an African American woman and you're standing up
well,
against these
everything is scrutinized when
people.
you're African American because you cannot make a mistake. You have to be perfect.
Exactly. The others do it all the time, and it's no issue. They will cover up for them. But if we make the slightest mistake, they're coming for us. They're coming for our necks. They want to make an example out of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that is that's true tea on every day of the week. So I was just having this conversation with a colleague of mine today. I was just like, they hold you to such high standards. The minute you take a left when you should have taken a right, they want to come for you, and it's like, so you can't make a mistake. You can't ask for help. You can't ask. It's like when do you get to be human? When do you get to, like, what your humanity doesn't matter?
I
It's
mean,
like,
that's
how
how
do
it
you
was
breathe?
historically. I mean, I believe cattle cost more than a black slave, market value. And that's one thing I can't stand about a lot of these black movies that come out that show us where we have to be super, inward. You got to
Yeah.
go over and beyond, you have to be able to
Mm,
like those types of movies. There's this one movie where the man had to go all the way to the bottom of the ocean and he had to put the pieces back. It was an engineer played by Cuba Gooding Jr. And I'm just like, why every movie about African Americans we have to just do the impossible superhero things to be a hidden figure or whatever. And I'm just
yeah.
like, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
but I mean, but see, that's the other thing, is sort of like, but I mean, I have to, it's like we are human. You
Right.
when is our humanity not enough? Like, I just, at the my husband says, at the beginning of night, not at the end of day, at the beginning of night. It has to be enough, right? It has to be enough.
I'm praying for that day to come because I mean, we're strong black women. Never heard of a strong white woman. I've never heard of, anything like that. But yeah.
I'm I'm over that. I'm over that. I mean, it is, I have, this is my board is over here on this side, and it's like, I have these words over here where that's, that build me up, that, on those nights and those days where it's just sort of like, I've had enough, right? I look over here and there, this is my encouragement board, but it's just like, but I'm human, right? And that too is enough.
Well, with that, we just have to be careful of African Americans that come into our spaces and say things like, you got to be two times better or three times better. We have to stop them mid sentence and say, no, I don't. That right there, that type of mentality means that I need to get paid two times more, three times more. Stop it.
You're right.
Because they're using you and you are spewing out that type of propaganda and you're making things worse. So when someone black starts talking like that, we have to have the courage to stop them mid sentence. Like, no, 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 no. If this person is getting paid $87,000 for this job requirement, I need to have the same responsibilities and duties and the same pay. And no, I don't have to be three times better. You
Correct.
stop that rhetoric right now.
Right now, right now. And we have to have the courage. Unfortunately, we still have to have the courage to say that. Like, I'm not gonna work myself into the ground. And none of that stuff. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, and then also those people, when you dare say something like that to them, those older African Americans, they're gonna be mad at you. So
They
just
are.
expect about 3 months of hell with them. And I have little nicknames for people like that. There's one person, I don't call her by her name at all. I call her the Old Testament. I'm like, here come the Old Testament. Because she get on my nerves. So it's like she has no value to me. Like with them old school philosophy, here come the Old Testament with her mess. And you just let her just spew out and go crazy. And eventually she'll come, ooh, you know what? At first I didn't like you, girl, but I knew you didn't like me because I was just speaking to you, trying to encourage you to love on yourself a little bit more. And you were ashamed. You saw something in me that you don't have, and it made you not like me. So yeah, now you like me, now you respect me, now I'm your best friend, huh? You was mean to me for 3 whole months because I was trying to teach you to respect yourself, but it's all
Right.
good.
It's all good, right? And that's usually what it is. It's like they see something, they're like, wait a minute,
You're
she's
not suffering like we was taught to. Oh no.
Mm-mm. I'm not doing that. Like,
It's like the movie Django, Samuel L. Jackson's character, when he was like, I know that ain't riding that horse. Get him off that horse. It's like that type of mentality. Uncle Ruckus from the
I'm not doing,
Boondocks.
yeah, I'm not doing that. I just, like if you've made a decision for yourself and somebody else is doing something different, like, hey, that's you, boo. You want to work yourself into the ground, you go do that, but I'm not.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I am not.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
just happy that, again, people are finally changing. And when I say finally, you can go back and listen to tapes by Stokely Carmichael or Malcolm X. They've been saying the same stuff for 100 years. People just, again, kept
Yeah.
saying, oh, those radicals are
They were
crazy.
radical. Yeah, they was
But we
radical
should have
back then.
listened back. They were on it. Like Marcus Garvey, we should have listened to everything these people were saying. And here we are in 2024, and their same philosophies apply today.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't so radical. They were just right.
Exactly. And everybody else was just scared.
Yeah. 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 They
That's
were.
all. And then when it works out, they be the main ones want to take credit. I love my grandma, but I had to check her. She was really acting like she was a part of the civil rights movement. I said, Grandma, did you really get hit by a water hose or anything like that? Stop taking credit for some. It's a lot of Black people that act like they had something to do with that. It was a small group of people that did that. Shut up. Like, y'all was the main ones. Man, they crazy. They better stop fighting back. It's over here. Y'all was doing that. And as soon as it worked out, you want to act like you was a part of the movement. Hush.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It is what it is. Some of us have courage, some don't.
Yeah, I mean, well, I say this because I look back on it and I always think back to where my parents were or where my mom was, and I think they were scared. I think, I mean, honestly, because my parents were where my mom was in South Carolina. She was in Charleston, South Carolina. And I really think they might have wanted to have courage, but they were scared. And I seriously think, that fear was real.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So I have a couple of things. If people are looking for you, and they will after this end, after they listen to our conversation, where can people find you?
Well, I'm known all over the internet as hashtag Architect Bay. So you just look that up.
Yes.
And my website is xenadesignfirm.com. Hopefully, editors will put that across the screen, xenadesignfirm.com. And I'm Xena Stryker. So you'll see me a lot more in the media. I have some things coming up in television, and I'm just your all-around girl. I'm a very, very proud member of the Urban Land Institute. So I highly encourage you guys to try to audit an event, see if maybe the organization is for you. I'm also a proud member of AREP, African American Real Estate Professionals. See if that works out for you as well. And yeah, I'm just your girl all over the internet doing my thing.
So for my listeners, and you guys know I always talk about this, but all this information is going to be in the show notes. So guess what? You're going to have to read the show notes. You're going to be able to click on the links. You're going to be able to go to her LinkedIn page. You're going to be able to go to the websites, all the things. So that's right. You're going to have to read the show notes, people. So, of course, read the show notes. So, all right. So, and also, do you want people to be able to get your coloring book? Because we can also put the
Yes.
link to
Yes,
to wherever.
please.
Yeah.
The coloring book is available through Amazon, Books a Million, Barnes and Nobles, the AIA library is there. And it's not just for children. A lot of adults have found a lot of pleasure in coloring with the alcohol markers and all the cool media's coloring pencils as well. So check it out.
Awesome. So we will put the link or links to wherever you can find the coloring book. So if you want to get the coloring books for whoever you want to get the coloring books for, you'll be able to find the links to the coloring book where in the show notes, people. So you got to
Thanks, Dr.
read the
Tasha.
show.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so last question, and this is the question that we ask everyone on every single show of Stimming and Stilettos. And it is, if you could travel back through time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give her and why?
I would really focus on using my feminine power more. When I was a kid, I adored Lil Kim. I didn't know what it was about her, but I was like, whatever she doing, that Crush on You video, I want some of it. And then I love Dolly Parton. I watched the Odyssey, and I noticed that the women in the Odyssey really had those men like really messed up in the head. If you really watch the Odyssey,
Yeah.
and if I knew how much feminine power and beauty can get you way further through life, I would have like honed in on it a lot earlier. I grew up in a very religious home where everything that I just discussed, we couldn't watch. I mean, like we really couldn't watch Lil Kim and Greek mythology that's against Christianity. But again, that type of feminine power could have gotten me into success and money a lot faster. In terms of like dating, um, a lot of other races, they date with intention on finances, you know? And if I really knew what I knew, when a person says they love something, you know it by looking at their bank account. So if you look at someone's bank statement, you see where their priorities are. If there's nothing in there where they're spending money on their kids, they really don't care about their kids. Um, any man that genuinely cares about you will help finance your future. Now, I'm not telling you to go sleep, or that's not what I'm saying. I'll twist my words up. All I'm saying is when you have that business idea, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I need $5,000. And it's none of his business what you need it for. It's none of his business, because chances are, if you really say it, he may be thinking, oh, she's going to surpass me in life. I can't give it to her. But seriously, ladies, like these men will give you whatever you want if you just really know how to ask. And that, I dated a bunch of losers. That's my point. I just really did, just being honest. I dated a bunch of losers, and it held me back in life for years. So what I would have just told myself is date with intention, like successful people do. Um, People that love you will invest in you, and then you just move on like a job. And that would have really, the income I have now, I probably would have had when I was 25. Just being,
Wow. I love it. I love it. And it's smart. I mean,
it's
it's smart. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have immensely, immensely enjoyed this conversation. And we should absolutely do it again. I thank you so much for just giving me a little piece of your day today. I just can't, um, I just enjoy it. I just thank you so much. Thank you so much for just agreeing to be a guest on the show today.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you for not just having me, but any woman that is at the caliber to be on this type of show. You created this safe space, this powerful space. And I don't know what made you do it. I don't know how the universe led you to do it, but you really just channeled in so much energy that needs to be put out into the universe. And you are helping so many women that you don't even know are going to watch the show and just pivot their career or stop taking crap just from the space that you created. So thank you so much, Dr. Natasha.
Oh, I will take that. Don't make me cry today. I can't. I think my makeup looks good today. So I will not cry today. But thank you so much. I probably needed to hear that today. So I will take that in. I will, yeah, I needed that today. So thanks. All right, you guys, that concludes today's episode of Stimming in Stilettos with Dr. Tasha. Another great guest, another great episode. And as I conclude every episode, you guys keep yourselves safe.